Hello, how are you? This is Els coming from bmascraftycorner, and this is part 2 of the craft along, build along with me journal. We're doing the little golden book right now, so get your little golden books out, and we will get started. Now, just so you know, you'll see me working on different books as we go through the series, simply because they're at different stages of completion. And so the part that is relevant to what we're doing today is the book that I'll be using. So for me today, that's going to be the Three Little Pigs. Now, if you have not watched part 1 of this, you should go back and do that. I'm going to very quickly review what we did in part 1, but you really should go back and watch that, okay? So let me grab a regular little golden book and a together one, and I will show you the process that we did just briefly last video. All right, so a quick review of part 1. In part 1, we sliced open above our staples, front and back, and then we pried up the points, and we pulled the cover off the back, removed our signatures from the inside, and then we pulled the staples the rest of the way out, which opened up our binding. Okay? We then put in a new piece here in the center so that our binding went from being just that little bit to now being this full piece. Okay? Then we took our pages and we scored them at 5/8 of an inch. And as homework, I had you guys glue the pages together up to the score lines. So you should have, usually it's 2 signatures, 3 pages each one in a little golden book. So just to make sure we have everything in the right order, we have 1, 3, 5, and then it goes to 13, 15, 17, okay? So let's get our cover out of the way. We're going to work on these today. And we are going to want to get our cutter because we're going to cut these down. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to cut these down to we're going to cut these down to 3/8 of an inch, okay? So we're going to cut this part off. This is the fold part, okay? Now the pages are still going to be together because we have this little piece, okay? So we're going to cut these down, and then we're just going to flip them over. So put it in your cutter. Cut this little edge off. And then stack them up. Okay? So easy peasy here. So we're just basically leaving this tiny little bit, all right? We're taking about a 1/2 inch off. Now, go ahead and pause the video until you get all of your pieces cut down, and then come back. So now it's time to pick paper. All right? So you can put any kind of paper you want in here. If you want to put scrapbook paper in, put in scrapbook paper. If you want to put it in an envelope, put in an envelope. You want to put in a bag or a sack, put that in. You want to put in just dyed paper, put that in. You want to put in just lined paper, put that in. Whatever you want to put in, put it in, okay? So go and gather up your paper, and I'll meet you back here in just a second. Okay, so I have some coffee paper and some dyed paper. I have an old appointment book, a ledger page. I have a giant tag, some marble paper. This is for a giant ledger book for an assessor's office. I have that, and then I have my regular pages. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to glue some here. And the way to do that, the way that we're going to do that is we're going to decide which direction we want to fold what's left. Okay? So you want to try and find the spot that makes it a little less invasive. That's a good way of putting it. So here, it doesn't really show, but if I had done it on this side, you would have seen that, because you would have had a piece that looked, you know, that covered part of the picture. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to find the least invasive way of putting this. Whichever direction it goes, we just want it to be the least invasive. I think this one's going to go forward as well. And I'm just going to glue these down. So you're going to do that too. And then you're going to start the video back up. All right? See you in a few. Okay. So now I've glued all these down, and I've just gone over them all with my bone folder, just to make sure that I had them all nice and creased and pressed, and that these were nice and secure. And basically what I've done here now is I've created a new spine on each of these signature pages. Okay, so now if we bring our book cover back in and we put our pages on our new spine like this, you're going to see that they're now inside of the journal cover. Okay, it's kind of what we want, right? All right, so now we want to make sure that we don't have any pages that are bigger than these. Okay, so let's start with our regular paper. We'll fold that in half. So that's not going to be wider, but it is going to be taller. So we're going to have to cut those down. We have our ledger piece. Again, not going to be wider, but it is going to be taller, so we'll have to cut that down. I have this tag, this giant tag, and I don't want to like just stitch it in. I thought I would fold this in half and make a page out of it. So I'm going to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this. And this tag is about 8 inches. So we're going to score it at about 4. And we'll fold this thing in half and we'll make it part of, we'll make it a page. Okay, so this will be a page and this will be a page. There we go. All right. What else? So we're moving right along. And then that marbled paper, do some of that. And again, this is going to be taller, but not wider. So we're going to cut this down a little bit. And then we have this giant ledger paper, which if we fold this in half this way, see if we go this way, it's going to be a lot bigger. So I want to kind of try and keep the lines. So we're going to go this way with it. So what I'm going to do is fold this in half. And then we'll cut off a little on the top and a little on the bottom. So it creates 2 pages, okay? Okay. So we now know we need to cut most of this, okay? So let's go ahead and measure this. So we'll get our ruler, go ahead and measure this. And these are 8 inches, which means you're going to have to take at minimum a ½ an inch off of each one of these pages because they're 8.5 inches tall. Okay? So I'm going to put this cutter away and I'm going to get the big one out real quick because it just makes my life easier. And we're going to go through and I'm going to cut these down to no more than 8 inches tall. Okay. So we'll start with our dyed paper. So that'll give us 8 inches. It's just a hair over. So I'm going to bring it down to about 7 7/8. Okay. Perfect. It's just under our original page. So 7 7/8 is our number. Okay. The marble down. And we're going to cut this down. And again, remember, we're going to cut some off the bottom and then we're going to cut some off the top to create 2 pages here. All right. 7 7/8. And this one is wide, so we want to make sure that it doesn't, it's not wider than, and it's not, so we're good there. This we don't have to do anything with. And then this, I want this to be, I don't want it to be this way in the book. I want it to be this way. So we're going to do something special with this. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put it in our cutter, and we're going to trim this edge. Okay, now I'm going to measure the width of my page, which is like 5 5/8. So this can't be wider than that, but I need 1/4 inch. So if I go to 5 5/8 and then add 1/4 inch, I'm at 5 7/8. So I'm going to cut this down to 5 7/8. Okay, and then again, it's going to be 7 and 7/8 this way. So I'm going to take some off the bottom, turn it around, and I'm going to take some off the top. All right. Now this piece is not perfectly flat, so I can't say that any of our cuts are going to be perfectly straight. But we're going to try and get them as straight as we can. And then I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this one, because we're going to treat that one different. All right. I'm going to clean this mess up and I'll be back. All right. So this page, we're going to treat this a little different than we do those. And that's because I don't want to do this like, if I folded it this way, it would be too thin, even if it was the full size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my ruler on here at about 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to fold it up right there. And then I'll go ahead and hit that with my bone folder. And what I've done is I'm creating a sort of a signature joint, okay? So that when I put my pages together, this one is just going to go like that. You're really not going to see this when you stitch this in, okay? So, this is the point where we're going to stop for this week. All right, because there's a lot of work that has to be done here. You have to do all of this and get that all straight. And then you have to cut down and find all of the paper that you're going to be using. And you want to make sure that you have at least one for in between each set of these. So you need at least 6 or 7 pieces of this to work with. You can use more, but you need kind of 6 or 7 minimum, okay? So find the paper that you want, get it cut down to the sizes, you know, that you need it to be, and get it all stacked and ready to go. And anything that you have like this that you want to use that you don't want to have to fold in half or have awkward in the book, just put that like 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch seam here so that you can stitch it in, okay? All right. So that's it for this one. Listen, next time we are going to be stitching things together. So you're going to need a needle. You're going to need the thread that you're going to be using to stitch all of this together. And you're going to need like an old paper back or some foam. You're going to need an awl. And what else? If you want to ink pages, you're going to do that now. If you want to ink pages, do it now, okay? Homework, ink pages if you want them inked. And let's see what else. I think that's going to be it, ladies. All right, I will be on this afternoon. If you are watching this live, okay, if you're watching this on the day that the video is published, I will be live in the afternoon to go through this with you. If you're watching this after, if you have any questions, put them in the description box, in the comment box below, and I will try to help you as best I can. And that is it for step 2 of our little golden book. I know for some people this is probably very slow, and I apologize, but for some people this is a lot. So I'm trying to keep it kind of middle of the line. So, that being said, if you are new here and you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that red button for me and subscribe. Like me, ring my bell, share me with all your friends, and your friends can be my friends, and my friends can be your friends, and our friends can get to be friends. And before you know it, we have a giant crafting community. Until I see you again, stay safe. Bye-bye.